Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Hello again, and welcome to the Locker Room on our Friday night. Friday Valentine's Day special, as it were, because that's why Andy's on about to speak about love and all that, not football, at the weekend. Good to have you back, Andy, and welcome back to the show, Robbie. How are you guys?
Doing well. I always like to think of your football club as a relationship. Sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. I think for me and Andy this week, after the cup results, we're both hating our clubs right now, but hopefully that changes after the weekend.
Yeah, no, exactly. Maybe this is another therapy show. I don't know. We'll tell you about 7 o'clock tonight as well. Get your comments coming in, guys. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I always say Twitch, Andy. I don't know what I'm on about there because I'm not down with the kids. You know, I'm at that age that I can remember. MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace back in the day, Andy.
That's it. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
indeed. We're showing our age, aren't we? Great to be back on as always, Michael. And it's obviously still getting over last weekend's cup result, as Robbie said. Both our teams, St Mirren and Rangers. Rangers for myself. It is like a relationship. It's love hate, and I'm hating it at the minute because we're not doing too well. But I still love them.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just glad, like, you remembered MySpace, Andy, because I didn't want to be the oldest one on the panel tonight. So that was good. Other websites are available as well. Robbie, maybe before your time, MySpace. I'm not sure.
Just slightly before my time. I'm the young man in here. So aye.
Less of that. Yeah. As I said, we're on till 7 o'clock. Get your comments coming in, and we'll look ahead to the weekend's games as well. And possibly before Robbie goes off at 6 o'clock, we might have a wee darts update for you. I'm not a big darts fan, but I kind of make a joke just to get in the chat, Andy, about I didn't see the point of Robbie going to the darts at 6, but I was quite happy that Robbie got the joke as well, because you know that way when you see a joke and nobody laughs, you just get like custard pie on your face and you're like, oh no. Big week for Celtic in European action.
I thought you would have been a big fan of darts, Michael.
Nope.
I thought you would have been a big fan of darts, seeing Celtic are used to winning trebles nowadays.
Yeah. Well done, Andy. Yeah. That's why you're on the show to make the jokes up as well. So yeah, big win for big week for Celtic in European action. Let's just start with that game tomorrow then. The Celtic and Dundee United. First of all, we won't talk about that for a minute or two. I forgot that we've got a bit of news. Robbie brought to my attention today. I said that like a school teacher. Did you like that? The Challenge Cup is kind of well. Robbie, do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, the B team, so the Scottish Premiership B teams looks like they're going to be included in sort of a league format for the beginning of next season. There's no too much details on what the league's actually going to be like, but they have also announced a change for the loan rules with Scottish players between 16 and 21. So if a Scottish player goes on loan, it's only if you're eligible to play with the national team. You can switch between the two clubs for more game time. So I think it's a sort of wake-up call for the SFA in terms of they want to try and see the youth players getting more game time, which, we've ranted on this show many a times about the youth players not getting enough games. So there's a lot of mixed opinions, but I think it's a step in the right direction overall.
Andy, we'll get your opinion on that in a minute or two, but obviously you're from overseas, Northern Ireland. Do you have any kind of youth kind of set up over there, like Robbie was just telling us there?
So my local team would be the team I support locally in Northern Ireland is Linfield, and they're one of, if not the top side in Northern Ireland, and they've got a very good youth system, so they have, lads. And in recent years, Linfield have had players come through their youth academy and not even see, excuse me, the first team or get a few appearances, and then they move to the. We've had players go to the likes of Leeds United, West Ham, and other English clubs as well, and also move on to the likes of Rangers. Ross McCausland being a prime example there. Try Hume, who's at Sunderland, and a couple of other players like that who went on to make it well. So, no, in the Irish League there's decent youth academies, the likes of Larne, Glentoran as well, and other teams as well who have good youth academies. But Northern Ireland actually have a thing, as in the International Academy, which is the JD Academy through the Northern Ireland setup, which is to help young players coming through, and it develops sort of from under 16, I think, to 18s, and it seems to be a very good setup, and it provides players then for the first team.
Robbie, do you think it's beneficial to the clubs in Scotland? Because I mean, we've spoke about this numerous times on the show, but do you think it's a good thing for us to see? Because I mean, perfect example, Northern Ireland has got like an academy as well, and like tournaments as well. But do you think that's where Scottish football kind of like lags behind all the other nations when it comes to this?
I think so. I mean, I know a couple of boys from Northern Ireland. Andy's also spoke very highly of how good their youth league is. But for us, I mean, only going after the club I follow, St Mirren, us alone. You look at players like Evan Minnie, who, if anybody watched the game against Hearts, he did get minutes. But there's a very obvious lack of experience in players like that. Minnie came on the pitch, played extra time, and they get absolutely bossed about every time he went for the ball. He was getting shrugged off every single time. So I think there's clearly a room for improvement. I'm hoping this B team league stuff helps. I mean, these players want to go out and get experience and play regular first team football. When you're sitting on the bench for St Mirren every week, it's not going to happen. Obviously, clubs like us have tried to send players over to Northern Ireland and Ireland before, and it can work. But again, they're coming back up here and they don't seem ready enough to step into this league. So it's definitely an issue that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you when it's going to be coming in. I presume it'll be next season or whatever. But again, Andy, we always speak about the finance side in the game, and I think that it would be up to the SFA just to bring in a sponsor as well, and to get more prestige about it as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Scottish football sort of being left behind in Europe, if you like, in terms of bringing through youth players. Because you look at the likes of even England, Spain, lesser so-called nations, Sweden, Denmark, and all. They're all providing top players through youth academies and stuff like that. In Scotland, the national team, who have done reasonably well in recent years, have had one or two young players coming through, likes of Gilmore and stuff like that there, but Nathan Patterson and what have you. But there should be a lot more coming through into the national team, and also going into Scottish Premier League club teams as well, because to me the SFA and the SPFL need to be doing more to promote and help grassroots and youth football in Scotland.
There you go, Robbie.
And if that means with a good sponsorship deal, backing that, it needs to help it.
There you go, Robbie. Our pal Graham is on YouTube. He was saying that I've said it for ages, getting rid of the reserve league was a big mistake. Now, we might be showing our eggs now, Andy, towards Robbie. I would be very surprised if Robbie remembered the thing, but it was brilliant because when say like Rangers were away from home playing maybe Hearts at the weekend, they would be playing Hearts at Ibrox in the reserve league, and you can miss that. You can miss that okay day out, but you also you miss that kind of like talent coming up as well.
Yeah, you do indeed. And as you're pointing out there, Michael, obviously back in my younger days, not that I got the reserve team football watching Rangers, but there was good crowds went to the reserve games as well. I think even when Andrew Ant made his comeback from injury, there was like 15 to 20,000 there to see him. And that, I think, if I'm correct, that was against Celtic at Ibrox. So you're always getting a good crowd, and it's a good chance for the likes of young kids or whatever. You're taking young kids to the gate reserve games or whatever, bringing them into football, the chance to see the what's the future will bring for your club or Scottish football in general. Because even if you look back to the likes of the Victory Shield international wise, it was always on the Friday night on Sky Sports, and you seen, oh, who's that player and who's this player, and 2 3 years later they were featuring in the first team. And it was always great to see how well they were, doing.
Yeah, the likes of Barry Ferguson and all that came up through the ranks and yeah. So we'll watch that one bit interest, Robbie, as well, and hopefully we'll be speaking about it next season as well, because you always like to see that as well, and more Scottish football on the TV, and it really sets them up to play first team football in front of 50,000, 40,000, 20,000.
Yeah, I mean, you see small glimpses of it. I mean, for us, there's obviously the B Team Cup these days that still runs, something through the semi-finals, and we have played a couple of games at, just the Smizer Stadium down the road, when our main team's not playing there. I mean, it doesn't exactly fill out, but there's a good 2,000 or 3,000 fans there that, are more than happy to go along and watch the B Team, and it's always good to see. It's, although the Cup doesn't, it's not like the old reserve league where it means a lot to players. It's still good to go and watch these B team players that perhaps aren't in the first team yet. So there's definitely small glimpses of what can happen if we go the right way down this system, and actually get proper B team and reserve league football back playing regularly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, let's move on to the Premiership now. Game tomorrow. Celtic against Dundee United. And it was a big week for Celtic in the Champions League, Robbie. We've done the show on Tuesday night. The tables were basically turned this week. Andy, Robbie was interviewing me for changing Skigger the other way about. So you done a top job, mate. Well done. Better than me, I would have to say. But no. So we done the show on Tuesday, Wednesday night with Mike, and I think I don't know. Celtic fans were feeling the worst going into the game, but I suppose that when the game kind of went on in the second half, Celtic had a wee kind of spell in the second half compared to the first half. I think the best way to describe that game was a game of two halves.
Is that for me or Andy? Sorry.
Yeah, Robbie.
First of all, to Celtic, absolute credit to you, because although the result didn't work out in your favour, Celtic played very, very well on the night. Only took 27 seconds to open the score, and unfortunately the goal got chopped out. But it just shows if you go at a team like Bayern Munich, there's big gaps, and there was a big gap for the whole game. People said it, on social media, that if he'd have started that game, it would be a much more defensive Celtic. He did start. It was a lot more defensive Celtic. See, as soon as Ida went off and Maeda went through to the middle, there was a massive, massive difference in the Celtic team. You just looked a lot more sharper, a lot more positive going forward. And you got your well-earned goal. I mean, you probably could have had another one, because I do think it was a penalty in the end. I actually didn't think it was a penalty at first look, but I went back and looked at it, and I think it probably is a penalty. But I don't think Bayern Munich lived up to everything that I thought they'd be. There was a lot of side-to-side passing during the game. Didn't really try and break through the Celtic defence as much as I thought they would, but the goal just before half-time and just after half-time, it really showed Bayern Munich's quality, because they are a good team and they can find ways to break through eventually. But going away to the away leg, I mean, Celtic have given themselves full confidence that they can go and try and get something out of this game. I don't know if it will happen, because we know what German crowds are like, but they definitely gave themselves hope. For home at Dundee United, it should be a win, really. I mean, Dundee United have had a few bad results the last few weeks that I don't think they're playing as well as Jim Goodwin probably wants them to play, but I mean, every fan knows what you're going to get with a Jim Goodwin's Dundee United team going to Celtic Park. It's the same every time. It's sit behind the ball, try and make it tough for Celtic, and I expect no different tomorrow, but it should probably be a win for Celtic.
Andy, obviously in these kind of big European nights as well, obviously Ibrox as well, and the Europa Cup for Rangers, we always say that if you take the gaming's kind of schedules in terms of 15 minutes, half an hour, get to half time, Celtic nearly done that, and then 2 seconds, I think it was, off of half time, Bayern Munich scored, and then again in the second half. It's funny because teams always get a bounce by scoring that early goal, and then they come out in the second half, and who else but Harry Kane put the ball in the net, and you're thinking, well, this is going to be a long second half for Celtic, but full credit to Celtic, they come back, and okay, they still get beat, but they put up a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, when the draw was made, and you would imagine most Celtic fans feared the worst, excuse me, because of who they're up against. But any team coming to Celtic Park with the backing of the crowd and the atmosphere, they're going to find it tough enough, regardless of how good a form they're in. And Bayern Munich, a great side at what they are, but I didn't think they were anything real special. I think Celtic sort of kept them at bay at times, in terms of the ways Brendan Rodgers set his team up to defend and go after Munich as well. But the goals did come at the wrong time. Any goal comes at the wrong time, doesn't it? But in terms of the way it did just before half time, and then on the other side of it as well. But Celtic, they weren't disgraced, and they did themselves, they gave a good effort and accounted themselves. So still all to play for in the next leg, but it's just wee moments of concentration where the likes of the Harry Kane goal, where you switched off and you're made to pay for it, sort of thing, from a Celtic point of view. But I think Celtic looked tired as well because of how much they did put in to the game as well, towards the end. But fair play, they did give a good account of themselves, and still in the tie. And yes, as Robbie said there, the German crowd, Munich fans will create a big atmosphere as well. But Celtic can't hide when they go to Munich. They have to go after Munich and go and try and win the game.
And Robbie, it's going to be a totally different atmosphere and a different game next week in Munich as well. But Celtic got the goal. Obviously, football's a fun little game, but it's going to be Celtic's going to be up against it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a whole different crowd. You look at how the crowd was at Celtic Park for the game. So up for it for the first minute. It is magical. The atmosphere that can be created at Celtic Park and at Ibrox on European nights. It was the same again. I mean, you saw the crowd reaction after the goal went in that unfortunately got chopped off after 20 seconds. The place was going wild. Going into Germany, it's a bit different. It sort of feels like the roles are reversed. German crowds, they know how to get up for the game. I think it's the Allianz Arena, it's still called, for Bayern Munich. It'll be the complete opposite for Celtic. The crowd will be getting on the Celtic players' backs for the whole game. They'll be getting behind their team. And the big thing for Celtic is you can't sit back and just let Bayern Munich try and break you down. You need to go after them. If Celtic can go after that Bayern Munich team, you can score goals. As Andy said earlier, I really don't think they're that special. I think they're a very good team. Obviously, I'm not trying to say they're a bad team or anything. They've got some real quality players in there, but one thing they showed in that first leg was Celtic can go after them, and I think the big decision is who plays up front, because I think if you play that again, try and find a target man, I'm afraid that Celtic might get broken down quite easily. But just play Maeda up top, let him run at that defence. I mean, what's the worst that can happen if you go out? You've gave a good account of yourself.
And apparently, today it was reported in the Daily Mail, and don't cut me off by saying that paper, that Newcastle was up at the game the other night looking at Nicholas Kuhn, and apparently it's not the first time that they've been looking at Nicholas Kuhn as well. But yeah, so let's speak about the game then on Tuesday night. Let's speak about the games tomorrow. Of course, Tuesday night is the make or break game for Celtic against Bayern Munich, and we'll be on air. We'll be doing a preview show between 6 and 7, and then after the game, if you come out from behind the couch, we'll be on between 10 and 11 for that one. Okay, let's have a look at the games this weekend for you. We have Celtic and Dundee United. We have Andy's game on Sunday, Hearts against Rangers. We have another game on Sunday, Robbie's game. Well, I said Robbie's game. Robbie's going to the game. He's not actually on the park. Or maybe yeah, don't know. St Mirren against Hibs, Dundee against Aberdeen, Kilmarnock against St Johnstone, and the final game is Murrow against Ross County, and we'll get to the championship games later on in the show. So there you go. So Andy, what do you think of tomorrow's game? Because Robbie says that Celtic played well the other night against Bayern Munich, but it's yourself when you're playing for Celtic and Rangers or any other team in your last season, that you've got to adapt to the kind of like systems as well. And obviously Dundee United will offer something a bit more different tomorrow, Andy, that they might come and have a go, or else they might just come and sit behind the ball.
Haven't watched Dundee United a few times this season play against Rangers. They seem to be very, very direct against the likes of Rangers and also Celtic as well. So they played a great performance against Celtic at Tannadice and got a good point there just before Christmas. But I think they'll go to Celtic Park tomorrow and look to try and get something again. But Celtic, obviously, after a big performance and a lot of energy put in on Wednesday night there at home to Bayern Munich, you could well see changes made throughout the team tomorrow by Brendan Rodgers, changing it up a bit and possibly resting the likes of Maeda or Kuhn or whatever tomorrow for Tuesday night's game. I think Celtic can afford to do that because they've got a big squad and a lot of quality to come off the bench as well. But I do think Celtic will win the game tomorrow by a couple at least. Celtic just have the knack of finding ways to win, and they can go out and blow teams away early doors as well. So yeah, I would think Celtic will win comfortably tomorrow.
Of course, this is Dundee United's first game for a week and a bit, obviously, because in that time they've been knocked out of the Scottish Cup. Also, Celtic played 4 games in that time as well, Robbie. Do you think that's going to make any difference tomorrow?
Probably not, to be honest. I think it would have definitely given Dundee United a lot more time to prepare, but when it's at Celtic Park, I mean, look, the best way to describe this game is what Bayern Munich tried to do to Celtic, keep most of the ball, pass that around, try to break Celtic down. The roles are completely reversed. It's now Celtic's turn to see if they can break Dundee United down. And the interesting thing is, when we're going to speak about, obviously, Hearts versus Rangers later, it's one thing Rangers can't seem to be able to do to teams, whereas Celtic can do it. Celtic can always find a way to break these teams down in games. as we're going to speak about later, I don't think Rangers can. But no, I don't think the amount of fixtures Celtic have played will really make a difference here. I think there's good rotation options in Celtic, and when you're playing at Celtic Park, it's a lot different. If they were away at Tannadice, it might have been a different conversation, but not at Celtic Park.
It might pain you to say this, Andy, but Celtic's got a team at the moment where they've got a system where somebody kind of is injured, or somebody is suspended or whatever, and then they just bring somebody in, but that the person that actually knows what their job is. So do you think that kind of like separates Celtic from the rest of the teams in the league? And maybe I would include Rangers in that, sort of, Andy, but
Oh, you're completely right there, Michael. What you're saying, this is I find it hard to say, but I hate to admit it, but Celtic are streaks ahead of Rangers, but also every other team in the league. The quality to have in their first 11, the strongest 11, the players they can bring off the bench, some very good players throughout the squad, and as you say, if injuries or suspensions creep in, there's always players to come in and change rules for whoever went out. Celtic always find ways to win, as we know, and we've said that, and also the style that Celtic have about just going after teams and hunting in packs, and whether that's against Bayern Munich as they did the other night, or if it's against Rangers or Dundee United or whoever it might be, they always set out to go and put their game to other teams. And that's the big difference between Celtic and also Rangers. But yeah, I would say Celtic will start that way tomorrow on the front foot and go after Dundee United and try and get the game won early because they have a massive one midweek.
According to Jim Goodwin, Robbie, that he was speaking yesterday, he says that we know it's going to be a tough fixture, but we're going there to cause an upset. So does that might mean that he's coming to have a bit of a go?
Never with Jim Goodwin. Listen, I've seen Jim Goodwin as Sunderland manager for 2 years, and he said that near enough every press conference against the big two, and we'll still start back. I mean, it is in Jim Goodwin's blood to sit back and play defensive football against Celtic and Rangers. I'd like to think that if he sets his team up well, they can have a go, because I actually think Dundee United have some very good players. I mean, I speak about them all the time, but players like Lucas Stevenson and Glenn Middleton, like, they're really dangerous players for Dundee United. In games like this, they don't get utilised nearly as much as they should, in my opinion. I think Dundee United play so direct in a way that it sort of cuts off the midfield and wingers for even being able to make an impact. One day I'd hope Jim Goodwin finally tries to take the game to one of the big two, but I don't see it being tomorrow, to be honest. I think it will just be the sit-back, direct play that Dundee United usually bring to the table.
I can imagine, Andy, between a big game like Bayern Munich, all the press conference was taken up by questions about the game either on Wednesday or Tuesday. There was only one question about tomorrow's game against Dundee United. But Brendan Rodgers says it was a big game on Wednesday, but we need to park that now, and we need to focus on tomorrow's game because it will be very difficult as well. Don't forget, Celtic went up there earlier in the season, and Dundee United got a point out of that game, but it's going to be a totally different game tomorrow.
Yeah, it definitely will, mate. On the bigger pitch at Celtic Park, as you've just pointed out there, from the media, the questions were all fit. But Brendan Rodgers, obviously a very good manager, he knows he'll come out of the traps early on and go after Dundee United. So yeah, I fancy Celtic strongly tomorrow to win by a few.
Good evening to Paul Donaldson. He's watching on YouTube. He says, I hope you're well, guys. Yeah, thanks for watching, Paul. Hope you're well as well. I think Jim Goodwin will park the bus tomorrow. The game, Celtic will win. Celtic won.
You just hope he remembers to park his scarf from the house.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. I was waiting. I was actually waiting to see how long you mentioned that as well. But yeah, that was good. That
And
you.
not as tangerine one as other coloured one.
Yeah, no, I know. I think everybody knows what you're talking about, and yeah, no, I think it's a bit of a giveaway that one as well. But basically, Paul Donaldson says that I think Goodwin will park the bus tomorrow. The game Celtic will win 1-0. Where when they came to Picardy, Jim Goodwin parked the bus, and when Aberdeen supported them turn up again. So yeah,
Just to come in that
yeah,
comment,
okay, yeah,
it's quite interesting because I actually think, we always give credit to Jim Goodwin on this show for, what he's done with Dundee United and the way he's got them back up and into top six battles. It's not been an easy ride for Jim Goodwin at Dundee United either. I mean, the fans in the
no,
Championship completely turned against him before he get promoted because it was so close. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit Jim Goodwin here because he's got Dundee United in third, but the style of football, that's the one thing the fans always seem to turn on with him. I mean, it's been at every job. I mean, we didn't, although we had relative success with Jim Goodwin, we didn't do anything too big, but he steadied the ship in the Premiership. The style of play was very flattening to watch. I mean, the two semi-finals that we competed in the, during the lockdown stuff, it was very flat against the Johnson and Livingston. We tried to park the bus against two teams that we never should, and it cost us. At Aberdeen, the same thing happened. His style of football was off, and it cost him the job at Aberdeen. It's the same at Dundee United. Although it's working right now, it is a style of play that once it's found out and once teams can get control of it, it's hard to win games. I don't think a Dundee United fall off for Jim Goodwin's too far away. Saying that, it could go the other way and it could just keep climbing the league and finish third at the end of the season. But it is something for Dundee United fans to watch it for because the style of play has always really cost him his job during his career so far.
Andy, the only injury worry for Celtic, obviously, James Forrest gets out, but Brendan Rodgers said that he's a few weeks away now from coming back into the first team. But Paulo Bernardo will be out for about 3 or 4 weeks as well. How big a loss was that? Is that to Celtic? But in saying that, they've got players that can come into the team and hat you in different areas of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said before, Celtic have quality right throughout the team. If whether that's coming off the bench or whatever it may be. James Forrest has been a great servant at Celtic and had a very good career at the club. Obviously, is unfortunately an injury for them, but for Bernardo, I think it's a loss as well because he did have a very good season last season and also to the beginning of this season. So it has been a loss, and Celtic probably have missed him in certain areas or certain aspects, should I say. But there is players there to fill in, like say Engels, Callum McGregor's always there to make them tick. Kuhn and Maeda as well, offer the width and the pace and also goal scoring threat as well. So yeah, right throughout the Celtic team, they've got a lot of leadership and also great ability there as well.
Now we make it say, Robbie, that usually when we have the kind of pre-meeting about the show, we always say who's available and all that. I wasn't expecting Andy to come on to the show tonight, but fair play to Andy because his team's had a very difficult week. So all credit and kudos to Andy for coming on the show as well. It must be a difficult week for you as a Ranger fan. It must be a difficult season as well. So we'll just go right into this one. Hearts and Rangers, 12 o'clock on Sunday. It's another away game for Rangers, and I think Graham made the point early on about Celtic play as a team, Rangers play as individuals. Would you go along with that comment, Andy?
Absolutely, I would agree with it. So with Graham, Celtic, we all know how good they are, and they have great individual players, but collectively they are strong. And and they play well as a team, and they always find ways to win. Obviously a very, very tough week for Rangers and as supporters and the club as well. But last Sunday was absolutely horrific, result wise, performance wise, and you know a, a very tough place to go to at any time of the season. But on Sunday, away to Hearts at Tynecastle, Hearts are playing well the last lot of weeks, and I think Hearts, rightfully so, will be up for it. And they'll maybe sense a bit of blood with a wounded Rangers coming to Tynecastle on Sunday.
Now, Robbie, I don't know about you. I never saw the game on Sunday, right? But I was out and about, and I got a text message, Rangers 0, Queens Park 1, and to be honest with you, I thought somebody was at the wind up because I never saw that coming. But when I came back and I saw highlights on Monday, Rangers were the better team. They must have had about 40 shots at goal, and then obviously they get beat. But then again, when you listen to Clement after the game, and I know Andy's got his own views on Clement as well, that you would think the game's won in shots, not in goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's mental that Plymouth beating Liverpool wasn't even the biggest cup shock of the weekend. I mean, wow, I really did not expect this. I mean, to give Rangers some sort of credit before the game, they actually looked on a pretty decent run. They looked like they were getting their feet back on track. It looked like, the fans were very content with keeping Clement till the end of the season. Now it's completely reversed. I don't know if he will stick to the end of the season. I think, we can always dive into that sort of stuff another time. We could spend a whole 3 hours talking about the Clement situation, but there is a sort of discontent with the fans. I was saying it before that we came on, that it's so weird that Rangers right now in terms of the game. I mean, you said it there, Michael. Queen's Park had one shot, to put that into perspective. The one shot the whole game, and it was the goal they scored. I mean, that is unacceptable for Rangers to be losing that game by the stats that showed in the game. I mean, and I sort of want to ask you a question as well, if that's all right. Queen's Park, they did win the game, and a lot of the blame sort of goes on Clement instantly. But I mean, how much blame do the players need to take in this game? Because having that much shots and not being able to break that team down, it's an embarrassment to the players as well.
Yeah, you're right, Robbie. Quite a lot of the blame has to lie within the players. The lineup that was chosen on Sunday, to me, looks strong enough to go out and win the game. We all know what happened in the end result. Queen's Park had a game plan. They stuck to it defensively, and listen, defending is a big part of football. So you can't turn and say, "Oh, they parked the bus and all the rest of it." But they defended well. The goalkeeper had an absolute superb performance, probably the best performance he'll have in his career. They had one chance, one real chance, and they took it. And fair play to Queen's Park. The way they went about their business at Ibrox, and probably did deserve the win, because the way Rangers have set up the play this season under Clement, and even on Sunday, past there against Queen's Park, it's sort of the same old stuff that we've seen under the likes of Beale, under the likes of Van Bronckhorst, and fans weren't happy with that, and they still aren't. And I get what you're saying there. There was a wee spell where Clement was sort of safe in his job, and fans were sort of happy enough with him. But that's all well. Listen, it's all well and good winning. We beat Celtic at the start of the year there, and a great performance on that day as it was. You need to back that up by doing it more often. We haven't done it often enough throughout the season. Dropping silly points away from home or at home as well. And it probably does all boil down. And Graham made the comment earlier: Celtic play as a team, Rangers play as individuals. And if individuals aren't, if enough, you get away with that sometimes. If in, if enough individuals aren't turning up, you're going to be left to pay the price. And we did that on Sunday. We had so many amount of shots on Sunday. Football has always been the same game, about putting the ball in the net. If you're not doing it, you're not going to win football games. And we didn't last Sunday. It's as simple as. and the backlash on the manager, and probably more so the manager because he's ahead of the team. But the players should be getting as much flack as Phil Clement should be. Personal abuse, I don't agree with in terms of the video that came out on social media there during the week of Clement getting called certain names coming out of the ground last Sunday. I think that's wrong. Yes, voice your opinion, but voice it in a certain way, because I certainly wouldn't like to be called stuff like that coming out of my workplace after a poor day at work or even a good day at work. I don't think that's right, and I've spoke about that before with Michael and other people and other Rangers fans in terms of the way James Tavernier received abuse earlier on in the season. But it's frustrating at the club and as a supporter, and the support are frustrated and hurt because, yes, you're paying your season ticket money, you're putting money into the club year on year and support the club as we always will do, regardless of how times are. But what you're being served back, and these false promises are being put in front of you, and excuses, it's certainly not good enough. And that mainly boils down to a boardroom level, at management level, and also on the pitch with the players as well. So something has to change.
Andy and Robbie, I said to you, Andy, after I think it was one of the European games that you won the show at Ibrox, and I said to you, fair play to Phil Clement, because he's carrying the can now for, he's answering questions about the team, he's answering questions about what's going off the park as well. But do you think it's like, so Clement's been asked a difficult question for a while now. Do you think the board should come out and help basically come on and answer the difficult questions for him? Because I mean, he was asked a question today at the media conference, and really Clement's answer was, well, that's for the board. So do you think it's now time for the board to step up to the plate and stop shying away from the difficult decisions and just come out and act like a board?
Absolutely, Michael. Yeah, totally agree with you. Obviously, this new board or certain individuals on the board have only been in the job a month or so, so they obviously couldn't come out and comment right away. But there was a meeting with Clement, and his sort of position was assured by Patrick Stewart. And I think there was talks with some American, whatever it was there yesterday, on how the performance of Clement and the team has been. You only really hear from board members at an AGM, and again, to me, it's only sort of selected questions that are picked to be answered from the board. So that points to me as an easy way out. At the end of the day, the board are should be having to deal with all the comments and all stuff like that there from a fan's point of view, and that has to be throughout the season as well. I'm not saying that the board need to come out and speak after every game, win, lose, or draw, but if there's questions being asked, there needs to be answers, and truthful answers at that, because you can't, as you say, you can't shy away from things and the way things have been this season. Throughout the season, if that goes back to the stadiums, wasn't ready to be open at the start of the season. Um, why was the manager not back in January financially? And other things as well. So a lot of questions have been asked, but there's yet to be answers given.
And you know yourself, Andy, like the board can do an interview for Rangers TV, but because it's an in-house TV media company working for their team, they're not going to ask him difficult questions. They're going to tailor their questions to him. Whereas if they did a media conference, say to the men's school media, then he would be asked kind of like difficult questions. But I think the board need to be could stand up here a wee bit, because I mean, I know Glenn was saying about Clermont doesn't help himself in the interviews, and I know you said that before, Andy, but I mean, the board's still not doing them any favours and coming out and back him in public and put it in, hold a press conference and because surely this questions that the fans need to know the answer, because I mean you're putting your money into the club week in week out, Andy, and you're coming over from Belfast kind of like every second week, so it's not really down the road and round the corner you're coming from. You know what I mean? It's like a whole day out.
Yeah. Michael, as Graham mentioned there, Clement doesn't certainly help himself with some of the after-match interviews or pre-match interviews either. To me, he really needs to get a lot smarter that way. But how you fix that or how you change that is by winning football games and being successful. And until that happens, the fans won't be happy. But I get what you're saying about he should be questioned more. There's certain members of the fan media that have asked him tough questions on Sunday and also today, and he's sort of failed to answer them because he is probably a bit embarrassed of what happened last week. But at the end of the day, the blame does lie at his door because he picks the team.
Yeah, no, definitely. Robbie, difficult week for Rangers, but they just have to concentrate now in the game on Sunday against Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers, I mean, Rangers really have nothing to play for. Like, I know they're still in the Europa League, and fans always hold on to that hope of them going on another magical European run. I don't see it happening this season. So Rangers really don't have anything else to win this season. I mean, it's a trophyless season. I think it was Gio that gets sacked if even he won a trophy. I mean, the last two Rangers managers have got sacked for less than what Clement's doing this season. It really puts into perspective the situation. But starting off with Sunday, I mean, they need to go and take on a Hearts team that I think Graham said they're unbeaten in 8 right now. Playing very, very well. I mean, getting to watch them on Monday, they're a very good team. They're very capable of breaking teams down very well, and the defence is really solid. I think McCart has been an excellent signing for them this season. So there's players in that Hearts team that could hurt Rangers at the weekend. And sorry to say, Andy, but it really wouldn't surprise me if Rangers trapped any more points between now and the end of the season, because I just look at some of these games that you've got and I go, if these teams can play, I mean, Rangers can drop me a point. It could be a really bad season for Rangers come the end of it.
Andy?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we drop a lot more points between now and the end of the season. But the question is, how bad does the board let it get between now and the end of the season? Do we change the manager now? Does it matter if we change the manager now? Because regardless of who you bring in, it's the same group of players. You'll get a new manager bounce, and then that'll fall off. Do we hold on between now and the end of the season then to replace him, or what happens? Obviously that remains to be seen.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Cammy. I was listening to Gordon Duncan speak about it, and he said if Rangers theoretically lost their next 4 games, Clement would be out the door, right? There's no question about that. So why can they not pull the trigger right now? You know what I mean? Like, what's really stopping them? Like, I get, the big question is it a financial issue? But again, the question comes down to if Clement lost the next 4 games, could they sack him regardless of the financial issue? So it's weird that you can't just pull the trigger right now.
Yeah.
So to get a perspective,
no, I think it's been the Celtic result that's kept them in the draw with Europe.
To get the Hearts perspective on the game now, and I don't want you to fight with Glenn, but here's Mr. Duffy. Hi, Glenn.
Evening, guys. Happy Valentine's Day, or if you're sat at home on your own because your wife's gone out with the girls, happy Friday.
Yeah. So what do you think of the game on Sunday, Graham?
Looking forward to it. I am apprehensive because even though Rangers have been pretty poor, it is still Rangers, and we've not beat them in the last 17 attempts. But we are at home, 8 games unbeaten, decent run. We've got players in good form. I think Elton Kabangu so far has been a fantastic signing. I think this is a game that Hearts can definitely win because Rangers are vulnerable. But I'd like to see us take the game to them. We're at home. We need to press right from the front. We can't let Rangers dominate because they do still have really good players in their team. You know, they've got guys like Igamani and Cherny who can cause problems. But this is a game that Hearts should be looking forward to and looking to get a victory. I mean, I heard Robbie there talk about the St Mirren game on Monday. And to be honest, I said at the time, St Mirren should have had the game wrapped up. They were the far better team on Monday. But there's something about this Hearts team just now. We've got a bit of steel about us. We've got a bit of something about us just now. Critch has got us playing some decent stuff, and we look like we've got a bit about us. So, yeah, looking forward to it, but I am still apprehensive because even though folks say Rangers are poor, it is still Rangers. It is still a difficult test. But I do think that Hearts have got a very good chance in this game.
Graham, the one thing I took away from the game on Monday was how solid Hearts were defensively. You know, we should have won the game. Definitely with the way the first half went. But somebody that really impressed me, and I mentioned him earlier, was McCart. I mean, what a solid defender he's been for Hearts so far. I mean, how big do you think that signing's been, getting him in the door in January? Because he's a player that's going to help you, no doubt, for the rest of the season.
Do you know what, mate? See, when he signed, a lot of Hearts fans went, why did we sign this guy? He's 29-year-old. What's Jamestown doing? I think he's been absolutely fantastic so far. He's got the experience. He's got the physicality. He wins balls in the air. He's good on the ground as well. I mean, the guy won 2 cups with St Johnstone. He's a good player. And he's actually helping Lewis Nielsen. And he's helped Steinwender as well. I think he's been really, really impressive. And he was our best defender on Monday by an absolute mile. He just seemed to be able to control Olasanya and Mandron that Nielsen just couldn't. I think McCart's been a brilliant signing. Really, really impressed with him so far. And we've needed him because Halkett's out, Kingsley's out, Kent's out. We've needed somebody in there. And I genuinely think McCart, I really like Kabangu. I think Kabangu's been really good. But I think McCart's been excellent so far. Really, really impressed.
Yeah, no, exactly. And do you think that the fans are beginning to turn again on Critsy, because there was a bit of a spell in the middle where, and I think you said this on the show as well, Graham, that he should get out or whatever. But do you think the tables have turned again?
There are still a few Hearts fans that are not quite convinced by him yet. I have definitely been turned round. I think he's done very well. You have to remember when he first came in, it wasn't his squad. He had to deal with Thursday, Sunday games. He had no real chance to train the players. He's getting that now. As much as I like European football, I think being out has actually been a bit of a bonus for us because we're not playing that regularly. I think he's done very well. I can see the system he wants to play. I can see the style he wants to play. Players are getting back from injury now. You know, Callum Nunehoff comes off the bench on Monday, first touch and scores after a year out. Fantastic. So I definitely think he has turned a lot of Hearts fans. Like I said, there are still some that are not quite convinced. But certainly for myself, I can see what he's trying to do. And I think the whole Jamestown thing's been very good. I think it's been really impressive so far, the players he's brought in. I'd have liked a wide player in. I said that a few weeks ago. I'd have liked a wide player in. But I can't be too disappointed with what we've done so far. And yeah, I think going into Sunday's game, I think a lot of Hearts fans are looking at this thinking, this is a big opportunity for us to keep climbing that league. Because I do think by the time we go into the game on Sunday, we'll be behind Motherwell. Because I think they're a point in front in 6, but I think they'll win tomorrow. So it's a big opportunity for us. But I mean, I just look at that Rangers team, and I'm glad you got Andy on, but I look at that Rangers team, and I know that they had a lot of chances against Queen's Park and stuff. But I said it in the chat earlier. I just look at the Rangers team and I think they've got a lot of really good quality players there. They've got Cherny, they've got Igamani, who I think have been fantastic. But they play as individuals, which is why I said earlier they play as individuals, not a team. They're not really playing as a team together. And I think Hearts have got to take advantage of that on Sunday. This is a big opportunity for us. Like I say, our record against Rangers is pathetic. 17 games we've played and not beat them. We have to win this game, and I think we've got a chance.
Now, Graham, I was waiting for you to come on before I has for the Scumbag Skull, my poem. I wrote this poem out for you. Aberdeen are red, Rangers are blue. I prefer rugby. And how about you? I done that on my kind of Barry White voice. Did you like that, Graham? Oh, okay. I can tell that Graham.
I thought it was rather Barry White itself, but
yeah, I didn't want to say that, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was expecting Andy to come out and say that, not Graham, but yeah. So if you've got any Valentine's, in fact, don't bother, because they might be a bit dodgy, and other dodgy ones. So that is the Hearts and Rangers game on Sunday. By the way, Graham, you're still in the Scottish Cup, mate. What's your chances of getting to the semi-final?
Apparently, we are second favourites, which does worry me. But we have finally got a home game. Woohoo! We're usually away from home, so I'm delighted with that. But I'll be honest, when the draw was getting made and Celtic came out, I thought, please not number 4. Please not number 4. I was so happy that Hibs came out after us. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. I'd love to get back to Hampden again. Sorry, Robbie. I know it still hurts you. But it's a big opportunity for us. I'd love to get to Hampden again, and this gives us a chance. But if we're going to be honest, and I think we have to be, Celtic will win it. Like Celtic, I don't see anyone beating Celtic. They will win it again. But I'd love to get to Hampden again.
Let's move on, because Andy's basically in a bit of pain talking about the game, so we'll move on. And we're moving on because Robbie is going out at 6 o'clock. Graham is going to play darts, and you know what I put in the group chat last night? It's that obvious, because I've said it before when you were on the I don't see any point in that, but anyway, yeah.
I really thought your jokes might have got better after all this time, but not still the same.
Michelle McMahon. Anyway, we'll move on there. Because Robbie has got a date with the dartboard at 6 o'clock. So Robbie, let's go back to Monday night. I thought I was quite a decent game on Monday night. I thought it was quite a kind of open game of two halves, as I say. But I mean, second half Hearts were too kind of strong. I thought Hearts would win the game actually. But bring back the golden goal, by the way, because extra time's so boring. And I don't know what he done at extra time. But how do you bounce back on Sunday against Hibs?
Well, I mean, first of all, I spent extra time sitting behind the bed hoping that Hearts didn't score in extra time, because it looked like they could have went on and won the game. And with that chance, that counter attack, and I think it was the 95th minute. Good goal and clearance. I mean, like Graham said it in the chat earlier, I think any of us could have played up front for someone that day and scored more goals than all the time. Yeah, I mean, how many chances do you want to miss? Honestly, I could not believe it after the first 45, Graham. Honestly, you were probably watching the game going, how are we no 3 or 4-0 down at this tie here? Because I mean, the system worked perfectly. Robinson spoke about trying to get the players to work in a good system. All we had today was put the ball up to Mandron, and they brought it down to Olasanya about 4 or 5 times, and they missed every single time. I mean, look, strikers are going to miss chances, but when you miss a magnitude of that, it is quite bad, even on St Mirren's level. I mean, Michael, you asked how we bounce back. I really don't know. Hibs are high flying right now. I think the only positive we can take is we've beaten them in the last 3 league games. We do know how to beat teams like this, and I think it actually suits us better. You know, when you lose to St Johnstone the way we did, we don't really suit playing against these clubs. We're much better against the likes of Hearts, your Hibs, Aberdeen, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you just need to watch the cup game on Monday to realise how good we actually were. So there's definitely positives to take. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. It's a month, although it might seem it for some of the fan base. If you read online, I mean, wow, some of the opinions. Even Zach Kemen at the darts wanted Robinson at last night, man. I mean, we're getting to that level, but I'm quietly confident again. I was quietly confident for the cup game on Monday. We get disappointed by penalties, which, look, there's a lottery. We're never always going to win penalty shootouts. Full credit to Hearts, by the way. I thought the penalty takers for every one of your penalties were good. I thought Craig Gordon showed his experience again. He was really good during the shootout as well. So I think Hearts deserve to win penalties, but we just need to play the same way we know we can. If we can play like that, put it this way, if we play the way we did against Hearts in the first half, there's no doubt we'll beat Hibs, because I just know we have that quality that we can go and put on a show.
Robbie, I spoke to you about Olasanya before. I think he's got a lot of positives. He's really good. He's quick. His pace causes. On Monday, I thought his pace causes a lot of problems. But it's a bit like Cyril Dessers for Rangers. In these kind of big games, you have to take your chances. And I'll be honest, there was a couple of times he got in behind and I thought, oh no, here we go. And he lacked that composure. I genuinely think Olasanya is a really, really good player, but if he wants to make the step up to a bigger team, he has to be more composed than that. Because you're right. I genuinely sat there and I said at half-time, we should be 3 or 4 down here. And a better striker than that, we are. He just lacks that composure at times.
Graham, he's got the pace of Fashion Sakala and the finishing of Lee Irwin. It's embarrassing. And it's not just... the thing is, it's not even just in that game. There's been a few times this season where he's created really good chances for himself and not finished it. And that's no discrediting Olasanya, because I think he is a really good striker. But the amount of chances he wastes, and you always get the same response if you try and bring us up on social media. If he finished all the chances, he'd be playing with Real Madrid. I get that. But the fact that he can't even, finish one of the chances on Monday night, it does show that he's got a bit of a weakness of composure, because you're right, the composure completely wiped away. And I think if it was Mandron that was on the end of the chances, I think we probably would have scored, to be honest.
I think that's the only thing you can hold on to, Robbie, because David Gray made a comment about it's going to be a tough game. They have beaten us twice this season, so I think that you've got to hold on to that going into the game, especially at home as well.
I mean, our home form against Hibs is it's really good. I mean, as I said, beating them in the last 2 league matches, any of these home games, I don't think we should have a fear end at home. We should never fear playing any team in the league. It doesn't matter if it's Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, at Johnston. We should go at them, because we have proven we can beat all the teams at home. We just need to go in with confidence. I hope that Olasanya can actually find the target this time. That would be very, very helpful for us. But no, I'm quietly confident.
Okay, so we're going to let Robbie away now. I thought he was actually going to the High Road to see the darts, but it finished last night. But so maybe he's going there, and his ticket was for tonight, but it was actually that. So enjoy the darts, Robbie. I don't see the point of that, but have a good night, mate.
Good luck, Robbie, mate.
Cheers, guys. If I can just say quickly, the sort of group that I go to is No Substitute for Men's Mental Health. If anybody listening on the stream's interested, it's based around Paisley and Renfrewshire. Yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch, feel free to shoot me a DM and I can send you over. It's brilliant. It's not just dart nights, they do comedy nights, they go camping in the summer, they do all sorts of activities for men's mental health. So if anybody's interested, just get in touch.
Oh, comedy nights right on that street, maybe not Mike.
We'll be there.
I know,
See you soon, Robert.
Right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
All the best, mate.
I was just going to say, Graham, if he's looking for a back end of a horse at Christmas, me and Graham is available for that one. But yeah, mental health, that's sweet. Good game. I'll try and get more information off of Robin. We can have some on the show maybe in a few weeks and talking about men's mental health as well. And darts is a good way of putting that. Letting if I don't see the point of doing that. I'm not going to say that joke again, Graham. Sorry. Okay, let's Andy. After the game on Sunday, Hearts and Rangers. The game's on. St Mirren and Hibs. Will you be watching this game?
I'll be watching the Rangers game, yes. I'll try and have a wee look out for the other scores as well throughout the league over the weekend. I think St Mirren and Hibs will be a decent game. Both teams Hibs are playing fairly well at the minute, and St Mirren have been, decent in recent weeks too. So I think it'll fair to be a decent game.
Yeah, well, I should say that game's after the Rangers game because that's a 2 o'clock kickoff as well. After the Hearts and Rangers game as well. Good evening to Scottish TV. He's watching on YouTube. My favourite name, by the way. He said, "Good evening, great gents." He said, "Big game for St Mirren this weekend. Playing like they did on Monday, and they will do well." Yeah, Graham, I mean, it's full credit to Hart came back in the second half. By the way, brilliant support from Hearts on the Monday night. That's brilliant to see, especially it was on the TV as well. But I thought Hearts did well in the second half, but St Mirren, if they took their chances in the first half of the game, would have been over, I would say.
Yeah, I am. So my wife was out on Monday night and my laddie was away on holiday, so it was just me watching it. But my laddie was watching on his phone and he kept phoning me during the game to like talk about the game and stuff. When it went to penalties, because I've always said to my laddie that I hate penalties and it's my own team that's in it. After we won on penalties, my laddie phoned me 2 minutes after it and goes, "No, I know you said that because that was stressful." Yeah, I know it was, mate. I hate penalties with my own team that's in it. But I genuinely thought at half time we were lucky to be in that game. You know, Craig Gordon's made a couple of really big saves, but like I said to Robbie there, if Olisanyah's just a bit more clinical, we're out the cup. Absolutely. But we did well. This is what I like about this Hearts team just now. We've got something about us. We stay in games, and we know we've got quality up front that can cause problems. So yeah, I was disappointed in the first half, but I thought the second half was slightly better. And then extra time, I kind of agree with what you said earlier, actually. I would rather, as much as I hate them, just go straight to penalties because extra time, nobody tries to win these games. It's very, very nervous. Nobody wants to lose the last goal. I would just go straight to penalties because extra time is an absolute waste of time. That was a waste of 30 minutes. Like, it really was. So, yeah. But, I mean, I think St Mirren, you know what you're going to get with them. You know they're going to be physical. You know they're going to get the ball forward and get the ball in behind, and they did that. And it caused us a lot of problems. You know, it really did cause us problems. But there's no doubt that St Mirren will be disappointed they're out the cup because for a long time in that game, they were the far better team. But like I said, Hearts have got something about us just now. There's a bit of steel and a bit of character about us, which I think's been missing for quite a while this season.
Graham, Scottish TV Gold is gonna keep commenting because I like that name. I'm gonna mention it a few times before the end of the show. He said Monday night was very stressful for the Hearts fans, but we got through. Sunday will be a big test, though, as we've not beat Rangers since 2020. So there you go. Andy, looking at the game on Sunday, Hibs has basically turned a corner now. I know we said in the show before that the job's going to be too big for Gibby Gray, but I think he's actually steadied the ship now.
I think he has. You know, the players are playing for him now. He seems to have a decent system there set up at Hibs. Watching Hibs against ourselves at Easter Road that day, he had them set up fairly well. I know we had chances to win the game, but Hibs looked decent, especially at set pieces as well. They possibly need 2 or 3 players in the starting 11, you know, come the summertime, or probably should have in January. But I don't know what the financial situation is like there. But I think they're 2 or 3 players away from being a good side that can, you know, they can contend themselves for top 3 or 4 next season. But you know, I personally think it will be a good game between St Mirren and Hibs because both good sides at the minute are playing well and they're getting results, you know, here and there. And Hibs are on form, St Mirren's on form, so I think it'll be set up to be a good game.
Robbie mentioned earlier that there's been a lot of St Mirren fans critical of Stephen Robinson, which I just don't understand. They're in a decent position. They can easily finish top 6. I know they're at the cup, but they've actually done quite well this season. And obviously not Robbie because he's behind Robinson, but I don't understand the negativity around Stephen Robinson. I think he's done a very good job. I don't know what St Mirren fans expect.
I think it's just down to how well they done last season, and fans just got used to that and want to do even better this season. But obviously it doesn't always work that way. You know, if you look at the likes of Hearts or Aberdeen in previous seasons, they've had great seasons, finished third, got into Europe, and then had a bad season after that. But listen, it doesn't always work out that way. So I think Stephen Robinson is doing a good job at the club. He's brought in some decent players and some decent players from Northern Ireland as well. Ocean Smith seems to be a good player. I know McManaman's been out injured a couple of times this season, but no, he's building something good there at St Mirren, and I think the fans sort of are a wee bit, obviously frustrated at certain results, but you've got to get behind the manager there and back what he's doing, especially under a certain budget.
Graham, do you think it's going to be a successful season? Well, you would like Hearts to win a bit of silverware, right? Obviously, but even if they get to the final and come up against Celtic or even Hibs, because you never know, a team could knock out Celtic. But do you think it would be a successful season for Hibs as well? Because obviously, the beginning of the season, it was a bit unusual for Hearts and Hibs to be in the bottom six. And by the way, I think they'll finish in the top six. Where? I don't know. But do you think it'll still be a successful season for the Edinburgh clubs?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, given how bad Hibs were a couple of months ago, they've definitely turned things around. You've got to give credit to not just David Gray, but the Hibs board, because they could have reacted. They could have said, right, we need to get rid of David Gray now, it's not working. But they didn't. They've let him stay in the job. He didn't sign as many players in January as I thought he might have done. But they have turned it around, and I think they're 9 or 10 games unbeaten. They managed to get through the cup against the United, which was a big, big test. So I think Hibs can definitely. I mean, it wasn't that long ago they were like 20 odd points behind Aberdeen, and now I think they're like 2 or 3. So it just goes to show A, the demise of Aberdeen, and B, how well Hibs have actually done recently to catch up. So yeah, I think Hearts and Hibs will definitely improve, and they have improved. And I wouldn't be surprised if we both finish in the top 6. I wouldn't like to say where I think we'll finish, because I don't want to say we'll finish with Hibs and then get egg on my face. But Hibs have definitely improved. I think Sunday's a big test. St Mirren will be desperate to make up for going at the cup, and they're at home. It'll be a big test for both teams. But you have to give mass credit to David Gray, because I said months ago I thought this job was too big for him. But he's done very well to turn this round. Very, very well. And they've got players now in form. Martin Boyle's been far, far better than he's been recently. I do still think they missed that bit of a kind of clinical finish up front. But give credit to David Gray. He's turned it around massively. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hibs even finished top 4, the way Aberdeen have fallen off.
Before we move on to talk about the other game, let's ask a fellow Northern Irishman, Graham, Andy, about Stephen Robertson. What's the feelings back home in Northern Ireland? Do you think he's good? Do you think he's doing a decent job with St Mirren? I mean, what's the feeling over in Northern Ireland about Robertson?
Yeah, listen, from media reports and the likes of the Belfast Telegraph throughout the time Robinson's been at St Mirren, I think he's done a very good job, and I've seen media outlets and stuff saying that he has done a good job, up to now. But again, I personally think that St Mirren fans have probably taken last season's qualifying for the Europe, finishing that high in the league and stuff like that there was a big effort from the team, and fair play, but obviously it doesn't always last, and due to financial resources and stuff, you can't bring in a lot of players of better quality. So under the budget that Stephen Robinson has, and I don't believe it's the likes of obviously Hibs and Hearts and Kilmarnock, even Dundee United probably have a bigger budget as well. So have they maybe punched above their weight at times? Possibly so, but Robertson's done a very good job from what he's had to deal with.
Okay, let's move on to the game tomorrow then. It's Dundee against Aberdeen, and you could maybe say, Graham, that these two teams are are trying to find a bit of form, albeit Dundee won last week in the Cup. Aberdeen won the game on Sunday, but in the Cup as well against Fairman. But these two teams has not been doing so well. I would say Aberdeen more. I would say Aberdeen more than Dundee, because obviously in the last two league games, Graham, it's been 12-0 they get beat. So they were going to put on the show, especially at home.
I genuinely don't know how you call this game. This is so difficult to predict. I mean, I think going into that game against Airdrie last week, I think a lot of folk probably thought the shock might be there, but they just swiped Airdrie aside. Airdrie were terrible. But yeah, to concede 12 goals in the last 2 league games is pretty poor. And they've just been badly off form. And I like Dundee. I think they're a decent side. They've done well under Tony Docherty, but this last couple of weeks has been horrendous for them. That was a big confidence boost last week, though, and they could have scored 6 themselves. But Aberdeen, I mean, honestly, this is incredible how far they've fallen off. They've won 2 games in the last 15 or 16, and they've both been the Cup games. In the league, their form's been so poor. I don't know why that is. It seems to have fallen off when they drew 3-3 with Aberdeen at Easter Road, and it seems to have dropped off since then. Now, they should take confidence in that game against Dunfermline last week, but it was Dunfermline. But I don't know where their form's suddenly dropped off from. And I think this is a really tough game for both teams. I would not be surprised if it's descended on a draw. But, I mean, Aberdeen weeks and weeks ago were so comfortable. They were sitting, everyone was talking about them being potential title challengers. That kind of fell away. Then you're thinking, well, can they at least finish second? That's fallen away. And now a lot of Aberdeen fans are even saying, we might even finish top 6. It's incredible, the drop-off. I've heard a few folks saying Jimmy Thielen should get sacked. I don't agree with that. I think he's going to have credit in the bank in his first season. But the form has been horrendous. And they need to start picking up. I think they will. But genuinely going out in this game, I could not call this. I honestly don't know how this is going to go. Dundee at home, you probably maybe fancy them. But honestly, given the way that both teams have gone so far, I could not predict this.
Andy Paul Donaldson says in the chat that hopefully the Dunfermline game last weekend is a turning point for Aberdeen. I don't know about you, Andy, but again, it's a very difficult game. No disrespect to Dunfermline, that you're playing against a championship side and you're at home. Tomorrow's a totally different kettle of fish. You're away from home against Aberdeen, and Aberdeen's not put on a performance at home in front of their fans for a while. So, Dundee, to say. So I think it's going to be a very difficult game for Aberdeen going away from home.
Yeah, it could well prove to be a difficult game, as Graham says there. I think it'll be tight enough, possibly a draw or maybe even a 1-goal win for either side. But Aberdeen were flying for the first 3.5-4 months of the season and playing really well. But I don't know what the drop-off's been. But, in terms of my own team, Rangers, people criticise the manager, and rightfully so. But also you've got to look at the players and question the players. And I think that's the same from an Aberdeen point of view as well. What has caused this drop-off in performance, or is it lack of desire or whatever? Have the thought that it's been too good? And, things just have changed in the last month or so, at Pittodrie. But obviously the fans are frustrated, and rightfully so. But questions definitely has to be asked of the players there as well. But no, I think tomorrow, the game between Dundee and Aberdeen, it'll be a tight enough one. But I'd maybe predict a 1-0 win for who. I'm not sure. Probably say Aberdeen, but I think it will be a close enough game.
I think, Grim, you make a good point about Jimmy Killeen, because obviously he's got enough credit in the bank, because albeit Paul Donaldson doesn't want to make the Mingham, but they get beaten in the League Cup heavily by Celtic. And by the way, that was a Celtic basically started that. I don't know what it is. And then obviously Aberdeen's in the quarterfinal of the Scottish Cup. So I think Jimmy's got a bit of kind of like credit in the bank. But it would be interesting to see if they get knocked out of the cup and whatever and what happens to him. But we said in the show before, Graham, about if Dave Cormack gets his appointment right. Well, obviously he did 13 games in, and then the wheels came off. But if the wheels come off again, the Aberdeen fans, I don't know about Paul, but the Aberdeen fans should be looking at Dave Cormack as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of Aberdeen fans saying that Fellaini should go, which I think is very, very harsh. Now, I know that the record has been pretty poor, and I think I stated this last week as well, that they've now lost more games than they won at the start of the season. But I think he does have credit at the bank. Injuries maybe haven't helped him. But they've just... The fall-off has been spectacular. No one expected this at all. And I think that 6-0 defeat to Celtic, I actually thought that might have been the game that started that. I know that folk have said the 3-3 draw with Hibs, but to lose 6-0 in that semi-final was a big, big blow. Because I think a lot of folk went into that game thinking, Hamilton's got a big chance here. And Celtic just swept him aside. But he has done a good job. It's his first season. It's his first full season. And I think he has done well. I think Aberdeen are probably ahead of where they thought they would be. But the fall-off has been spectacular. Like, nobody expected this. And for Aberdeen fans to even be thinking about sacking the manager already, I think is crazy. But yeah, they have to start turning things around. And I do think they will. Whether it's on Saturday, I don't know. But I think they will turn things around. But I think Thielen, Paul mentioned it in the chat there, that I think they have signed well. I think the new players will give them a bit of freshness. I think Jensen's actually been quite a good signing as well. The new striker they've got looks pretty decent. So I think they will turn things round. But they've got to stop winning games. They have to start winning games again. You know, I've said it before that winning is a habit and so is losing. And they can't get out that losing habit in the league. I know that Queen's Park beat Rangers, but I don't think they'll get beat by Queen's Park in the Cup. You know, they probably will get to the semi-final, which was a big, big boost. But I don't know where the form's gone in the league. It's been crazy how bad they've fallen off. But I do believe they will turn this round. Whether it's tomorrow, I don't know. But they will turn it round. But it's been crazy how bad they've fallen off.
And there's one thing about Aberdeen fans, even though they're not doing so well at the moment, but as Paul Donaldson says that they sold out their away allocation at Dens Park tomorrow. So that's good to see.
I mean, Aberdeen fans have always got a fantastic travel support. You know, they're probably one of the best travel supports in the country, to be honest. They always travel far and wide. They've got a very good support, and they deserve to have a performance tomorrow. I'm sure they won't care as long as they win. Even if it's 1-0, they won't care. But, I mean, I go back to Stuart Kettlewell. Last season, he went 15 games without a win. Didn't get sacked. Now, I know that Jimmy Thielen's on a bad run, but you can't just keep sacking managers after every poor performance. You've got to give the guy time. I think Thelin will turn it around. He looks to be a decent manager, and he'll be frustrated as well. But Andy said it there. The players have got to do more. I think Kevin Nisbet has been terrible recently. He missed a glorious chance last week. He does score, but he's got to take these chances, a bit like Olasanya for St Mirren. But I think they will turn it around. Whether it's tomorrow, I don't know, but I think they will turn it around.
Sometimes when you watch Aberdeen, you actually forget that Kevin Nisbet is at Aberdeen, because I thought he would have been a brilliant signing for them, Andy.
Yeah, listen, Kevin Nisbet's a good player. We all know with his past record, he's able to do it in Scotland, but you just can't rely on one player, as we all know, with our own teams. But it's up to the other players to step up to the mark, and goals have been obviously hard to come by for Aberdeen in recent weeks. But if you're such a striker, you need to be doing it a lot more. We know that. But as I say, it is up to the other players to start producing the goods as well throughout the team. I know I just read it earlier on. I know it's down the other end of the park, but Rubicic has been loaned out for the remainder of the season. So reading about Aberdeen fans, they're a wee bit frustrated with that he's away on loan, more so the fact that it leaves them short at the back. I think they've only 3 or maybe 3 centre halves left, but whoever's decision that was, I know he sort of took a bit of abuse a week or so ago, but yeah, it's a strange one.
Yep. So let's check out what the manager said. First of all, Tony Docherty said it's important to get back to winning ways, and we have got a big game coming up. Aberdeen is a good team, but we will be ready for the game. As of the opposite number by Jimmy Catalini said, Dundee will be a difficult game, but we just make you focus, and we just make you focus on ourselves, and we need to win every game. Every game is important, but yeah, I mean, so this is going to be a very interesting game to see what happens, Andy, because as I said at the top there, that both sides have not been doing well in the league. Okay, they won the cup, but sometimes when it's a cup game, they're kind of like pressure is off.
Yeah, it sort of seems to be different when it's from the league and the cup. Obviously, it is 2 different competitions, but teams sort of treat it differently. But both teams are looking for a much needed result tomorrow, and yes, I do think it will be a close game. But even if Dundee are to go win it tomorrow, or Aberdeen, and it might spur them on to go on a run themselves.
Okay, let's move on to the next game, Grim, at the Artificial Park. It's Kilmarnock against St Johnstone, and I'm very informed St Johnstone side at the moment, Grim. I'm hoping that my prediction will still stand between now and the end of the season, because I think I was the only one in that locker room team that tipped Ross County to go down.
Yeah, I know I said St John's to start the season. I'm not going to change my opinion. If Alistair's watching this, sorry, mate. But, I mean, again, you talk about form and you talk about Aberdeen and stuff, but St Johnstone has been very impressive. Valicari's done a really good job. I think he signed quite well in January. They look like they've got a game plan and a structure. I actually quite like Valicari. I think it's difficult, though, when you're trying to play the football he's trying to play. You're trying to play it for the back with those kind of players. But I kind of admire that, and I like the fact that he's not going to change the philosophy. I think St John's has had a really good run so far. They look a really good side now. I keep on saying this, and I'm sorry to bang the drum about this, but I will be so glad when plastic pitches are no longer in the top flight, because I absolutely hate them. I have no issue with them in the lower league. Absolutely fine with that. No problem at all. But in the top flight, it is completely tin pot. And I cannot wait for that to go, because I'll be honest, and sorry, Kilmarnock fans, if you're watching this, but I genuinely think that Kilmarnock pitch is one of the worst synthetic pitches I've ever seen. It is awful if you're watching football on that. But, I mean, Kilmarnock have been very up and down this season. I predicted them to have a drop-off this season, and they kind of have. But, at home, they're a difficult side to play against because of that pitch. It is a leveler. I've said that before, it's a leveler. But yeah, you actually have to fancy Johnson, the form of them. I mean, Alistair must be really pleased with how they're doing so far. The form's been very, very impressive. They're not conceding too many goals. They've got a threat going forward. Tough game, but I do think St Johnstone will win. But honestly, I'm sorry, but that plastic pitch, I can't wait till that goes, because I hate it. It's awful.
Yeah, Andy, Glenn was saying about seeing with Valicari. I listen to him every week, and you can actually tell that he's very passionate about the game, and I just love listening to him, and I think he's a breath of fresh air to the game, because obviously, most of the managers, when they talk about the game, it's just the same gravel that you get every week, but he offers something a bit different.
He does, yeah. And listen, he knows the league as well. He's played in it himself before in the past. Since he's come in, he's had a tough job to do. Picking up the pieces of what what was previously went on at St Johnstone. They're on a good run at the minute. As Graham says, the philosophy is trying to, set about playing and the way he's playing and stuff like that. It's working well for them, and he has big ideas as well what to do with the team. But no, they're on a good run at the minute. Obviously a great result last week as well. But I do like the look of the young lad Mackenzie Kirk, who, if I'm right, was at Hearts before.
He was. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of him.
I do like the look of him. Yeah, any time I've seen him, whether it's against Rangers or other teams, he's still young, yes, but to me, he looks a good player. I actually do remember his dad playing locally for Glentoran, and then obviously went on to play for Hearts as well. So, yeah, he looks a decent player, and St Johnstone are playing well. Always a tough place to go, Rugby Park. McInnes will have a side set up to play how they play, and of course, as we all know, the state of the pitch as well. So, interesting game, I think, but I fancy St Johnstone to win it.
Yeah, no, and for Kilmarnock, Graham, it's been a very kind of up and down season. I think. Do you think there'll be feelings St Johnstone coming to a town tomorrow?
I think, given the form St Johnstone are on, I wouldn't say fear, but they'll be giving them respect that they deserve. And I think, Kilmarnock at home are a decent side. They're a difficult side to play against. We know that. I think some of the big players, the likes of Danny Armstrong's not been quite as good this season, I don't think. He's still a player I like to see at Hearts, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they've been quite as good this season. And they have had a fall off. But, I've said it before, earlier in the season, Europe was going to do that to you. Hearts have suffered that as well. European football, playing Thursday, Sunday is very, very difficult. They don't have that now, but they've still not been quite as good. They played us at Tynecastle a few weeks ago, and I didn't think they were great. But at home, we all know they're capable of causing problems. But I just look at that St Johnstone side just now, and I think there's something about them this season, with Valakari. He has shined well, and he's right. Mackenzie Kirk's a man that I would never have let go from Hearts. I'm a massive, massive fan of his. I was a big fan of his dad, Andy, at Hearts. He was a really good player for us as well. I think St Johnstone have got players that can really cause them problems. 100% they've got players that can get at that Kilmarnock defence. But I just kind of feel at home on that pitch, I'd probably maybe go for Kilmarnock to win this just slightly. But I do like Valakari. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. I like his interviews after games. He doesn't get too up or too down. He seems to talk about the game very positively. And any man that can pull off diamond dealings like he can, because I certainly couldn't, gets my respect.
Yep. Wonder if he knows Eminem. I don't know. And I don't mean the sweet syrup, by the way. Simo Valakari said we are in a good form, but nothing changes for us. We've got to go now to a very tough place, and that's the thing. That's the thing, Andy. When you're in that kind of like relegation battle, it doesn't matter if you win one game, 2 games, 3 games. It doesn't matter if you win a game in the cup. Every game's now a cup final till the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. If, as you say, it's the old saying, isn't every game's a cup final between now and the end of the season. But St Johnstone need to just keep doing what they've been doing in recent weeks and winning games of football, whether that's 1-0 or 3-0 or 5-0. It's all about getting the points on the board at this stage of the season. They had a poor start, changed their manager, new managers came in. The players have obviously started playing better for them, and I think they will stay up. To me, I agree with you. I think Ross County are maybe the lesser of the sides that have. I don't think they have enough throughout the squad there to stay up, but could well be proved wrong. But I think St Johnstone will stay up.
And what do you think of Derek McInnes this season at Kilmarnock, Andy?
I think Derek McInnes has done a good job at Kilmarnock during his time there. But as Graham mentioned, and we all know, when teams qualify for Europe and then you're playing Thursday, Sunday, or whatever it might be. And whether that's Rangers or even Celtic, they do find it hard at times as well. Playing on the Sunday or the game after the European game. There's a lot of effort put in by the players, but no, McInnes he's done well at Kilmarnock. Still a lot of work to do, of course, but um, I do think the summer will be big for Kilmarnock in terms of trying to bring players in or even who they can hold on to. Because as Graham said there, you would like to see the likes of Armstrong at Hearts. There will probably be other clubs in for him come the summer. So it's about who you can hold on to, your big players, and also try and bring a bit more quality in.
Andy,
yeah.
Andy, I'm not saying for a minute get rid of Clement. I'm not saying that for a minute, but I've heard a lot of Rangers fans over the last couple of years talk about Derek McInnes as a Rangers manager. If Derek McInnes walked up to be a Rangers manager, would Rangers fans accept that? Like, his style of football is not particularly attractive. He gets results, but it's not particularly attractive. Is he a manager that Rangers fans would accept at Ibrox?
I don't think so, Graham, to be honest. I know there was talk about it before when he was linked just before Gerrard came in, and supposedly he was advised or he turned the job down, but whatever happened, he obviously didn't take it. I don't think he would be accepted, just given of what you've said there, style of football. But listen, Pep Guardiola's style of football is world class. It's not getting them much success this season. Things do change in football, as we all know, and it's all about winning football games and cups. But I personally just don't think McInnes would be well suited at Rangers. And I know he's an ex-player as well, but in my own opinion, I don't think it would work out for him. But where we do go after Clement, or if Clement is to stay and where we go with him, I don't know. There's a massive uphill task ahead of whoever that may be, if it's Clement or someone else.
Graham, Derek McInnes said that we're still working towards the top six. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a disaster if Kilmarnock doesn't make the top six this season. He says, and we're just focusing on ourselves. That Johnson are a very good team. They recruited well in the summer, so they are a good team. But we need to give them a tough game, and I think that's a message for all the teams tomorrow in the bottom six or even the top six. Tomorrow's like a cup final basically, for teams that come out just to make the top six, because what is that, 8 games left before the split.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was on here or something else, but I said very start of the season that the team that I thought would struggle this season was Kilmarnock. I just didn't think there was enough quality, and I also thought European football would be a massive impact as well. I think they've got good players, no doubt about that, and I think they've got a manager there that's been through it all. He knows what to expect, but I just think at times Kilmarnock just don't have that. They don't really have that spark in their team, and if Danny Armstrong's not on form, they don't really have that creativity. I think David Watson, who is a very good young player, hasn't quite been as on form this season, so they have fallen off. And I think with 8 games to go, I mean, that top six, I've said it before, it's crazy. Because weeks and weeks ago, Hearts looked miles off top six, but now we're 1 point off it. So it just goes to show how tight that league is. Anything could happen. Things can change very, very quickly in football. We know that. But I think it's a big, big game for Kilmarnock tomorrow. I do think St Johnstone will be in around that bottom 2 place. Sorry, Alistair. But I just think it's a big game for Kilmarnock tomorrow. If they can win, then yeah, top 6 is definitely in there. But I just think the lack of quality they've got at times is a bit of a factor.
Okay, let's move on to the last game in the Premiership tomorrow. It is the Murrow against Ross County at Motherwell against Ross County and at Fir Park tomorrow. It's going to be quite interesting this game as well, because Motherwell has not appointed a manager. Yeah, I don't know about you, Graham. Are you surprised at that?
they're obviously taking their time. I do know that the ex-Newcastle guy, Tamudi Kit-Spire, is on the short list. And if you remember Kit-Spire as a player, wow, that'll be fun if he got that job, because he is very, very passionate. I seem to remember a game against, I can't remember who it was, but Newcastle, he scored. And I think he took his top off and kicked the advertising hoarding. I've got that in my head somewhere. I can't remember who it was against. But he's a very, very passionate guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
How good a manager is, I don't know. But that could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think they've got a bit of a short list. Who's on that apart from Kit-Spire, I don't know. But yeah, I thought they might have appointed somebody by now, but they're clearly taking their time to appoint the right manager. You know, there's managers out there that would take the job, I think. Absolutely, it's a decent job. I do feel sorry for Kettlewell. I said this weeks ago. I think the personal abuse, you cannot like a manager, not like a player, but when it gets personal, that's, for me, uncalled for. But I'm intrigued to see who they're going to go for. But generally, if Kit-Spire gets that job, I think that's going to be box office. I genuinely do.
Graham, you haven't been on the show for a few weeks, so I'm going to ask you about Stuart Kettlewell. I mean, fair play to Kettlewell, he kind of walked away because he was getting, the fans were sending abuse at him, and it turned out that his family couldn't go to any of the games. What do you think of that, Graham?
I thought it was a disgrace. I said it before, you cannot like a player, not like a manager, not like whatever, not like a referee, but it should never get personal. That stuff should not be in public domain, I don't think. The fact that his family don't go to games because of that, I think is an absolute disgrace. And I feel sorry for him. I thought he'd done a very good job. You know, I said it to Stephen at the time. At that time, St Mirren, Motherwell were sitting 5th in the league. I said about St Mirren, what else do Motherwell fans want? I think Motherwell's punching above their weight. You're going to get poor results. That's going to happen. And I know they get knocked out the cup by St Johnstone wasn't great. But when it starts to get personal, I think that is absolutely disgusting personally. And the fact he's had to walk away because of that, massive respect to him. You know, big respect to him. But I genuinely feel sorry for any manager or anyone that comes up against that, because it's not right. You know, you've got to put your family first. And when it gets to that kind of level, then that's uncalled for. You know, you don't go to football, and I don't go to football to personal abuse anyone. I go to support my team. If they're not great, the whole team gets it, not one player. You can't call somebody out personally for that. For me, it's uncalled for. And I think it's a real shame that that's what's happened. And what happens with the next manager that goes in there? Is he going to suffer the same thing? Football is such a passionate sport. We all know that. But it should never, ever get personal. Never.
Andy, what do you think of that?
Yeah, listen, see, in regards to the Stuart Kettlewell situation, what he went through for the personal abuses or his family as well is absolutely totally wrong. You know, for the past few years, it's been more highlighted about of mental health situations or men's mental health and the lack of support and acknowledgement that it gets. You know, I actually read during the week how much Celtic fans wanted a big atmosphere and stuff like that there at Celtic Park, and rightfully so. And one of the Celtic fans, I'm near sure he might be a guitarist or whatever, have been invited to Celtic Park previous times to play before games. He received abuse online by fellow supporters, well, so-called supporters, might I add. Absolutely, totally wrong. Fair enough. You want to support your team, or the way you want to support your team. That's fair enough. But to personally abuse someone for trying to support their team, or even for trying to do a job, and Stuart Kettlewell was obviously trying to do the job to the best of his ability. He wasn't losing games on purpose. Nobody does. And it's the same with the thing I said earlier on the show, Graham, and Michael, with Clement. Nobody should be getting personal abuse like that, the way people have been in recent months or days or even this year. But again, I personally put it down to so-called keyboard warriors on social media. It's just easy to type something, isn't it? And with no photo or name behind it. It's just easy to do because you wouldn't say it to someone's face. And and expect to get away with it that way, you know. So I just think it's unacceptable the way people have went about it. There is a way to go about it, and as Graham said, you go to support your team. If it's not happening for you, your team's not performing, you want to voice your opinion, but do it in a certain way, and perhaps so at the team, or you know, to me, I've coached disability football, and you know different levels of football. The way to encourage a player, the way to help a player is to encourage them. Yes, have a word, but there's a way to speak to someone about it. And if you continuously run them down as a player, manager, whatever it may be, their head's not going to lift. They'll not want to know. But speak to them a certain way, encourage them in a certain way, and then things will hopefully then get better. But for what's happened with Kettlewell in recent times is absolutely unacceptable.
Just talk about this as well. I wasn't going to put this on here, but I'm going to do it anyway because I've got this thing here. So last week, my laddie wasn't playing. He was away on holiday. But his team played last week on Sunday. Now, remember, my laddie is 12-year-old and his teammates are the same. They're playing against other 12-year-olds. Last week, my laddie's team won 12-1 against whoever it was. During the game, and I heard about this last week, during the game, the laddies that my team plays for suffered personal abuse from players on the other side and coaches. 12-year-old. What are we teaching our young laddies, by the way? They're giving personal abuse to 12-year-old laddies. What are those coaches showing their players? That is an absolute disgrace. And I tell you now, if my lad had been there and I heard it, I'd have been furious. What are we teaching our young players? 12-year-old, and they're giving personal abuse to young laddies. I'm sorry. Where is football going these days? Where's it going?
I think Andy's right. We live in that society now, Graham, where it's on social media and like keyboard warriors as well. I mean, you saw other people, like younger people, like doing these kind of Instagram kind of things, and basically taking their own lives as well. So, but 12-year-old man, get a grip, and the coaches, Andy, they should know better than that.
Yeah, listen, we're all football fans, and we have children or whatever family members that are involved with football. You want to see your team do well. You want to win games of football or win games of sport or whatever. And there's ways of going about that. But see, in terms of personal abuse, um, if that's coming from a coach to your own team's player or an opponent's team's player, totally unacceptable at men's level, but also more at, let's be honest, kids level or young adults level. That's an absolute disgrace. Coaches like that shouldn't be around within the game. Shouldn't be given a coaching role at all, or shouldn't be allowed back. Because if we were doing that in our day jobs, you'd be out the door.
Talk about the game now, guys. Do you see any? I can only see a Motherwell win here, Graham. But do you make a case for Ross County, or
again, Ross Kent have been very up and down this season. I talk about lack of quality, and I just think Ross Kent do lack that quality, which is why I've said for weeks and weeks that again I think they'll be struggling against relegation. I think they might be in the playoff again. I genuinely do. I think Motherwell will win this. It won't be easy. It'll be tight, I think. But I just look at that Ross County side, and apart from Ronan Hale, and I know Jordan White can pop in with a couple of goals, they just lack that quality up front, I think. If Ronan Hale's not scoring, I don't know where the goals are coming from. So, yeah, I think Motherwell will probably end up winning this. And they will be... I mean, Motherwell could easily finish top 6 with that squad they've got, I think. And then... Honestly, I talked about abuse earlier on, but I do think Motherwell will win. I've said it before, I think Ross Kent will be in relegation trouble again.
Andy, what about you? Ross Kent going into this game?
Yeah, it's a tough game. Obviously, Motherwell don't yet have a manager, and that will probably change in the next week or so. But I actually fancy Ross County to get something tomorrow, whether that's a draw or a win. they have been struggling in recent weeks, and as Graham pointed out there, they're last get something tomorrow.
Okay, so let's move on to the championship, guys. There's no any games tonight because there's a women's game, Glasgow City against Celtic. We'll speak about that in a minute. But all the championship games are tomorrow, Graham. And see, when I look at the games, I thought that would have been a brilliant game to watch Falkirk and Ayr United. But anyway, Falkirk, Ayr, Morton, Airdrie, Livingston, Glenfermond, Queen's Park, Hamilton, and Raith Rovers Park at Thistle. So, what's your pick of the games, guys?
It has to be Falkirk United. I mean, look at last week. What a story. Scott Arfield, 36-year-old, 10 years or 15 years since he was at Falkirk, comes back and scores a hat-trick in his first game. Absolutely incredible. And I think the story as well, because obviously his pal Craig Cairns had passed away quite a few years ago now. He took the number 37 shirt that was Craig Cairns' jersey, and to score a hat-trick and dedicate to him, it's such a fantastic story. And that might be the signing that takes Falkirk to the championship, to get that experience, to get that kind of player that knows how to win things. I think that's a great signing. I have to look at Falkirk here. You know, Ayr United, I thought they were decent against Tibbs last week, put on at the game, just maybe lacked a bit of quality. But that's such a big game. But I just think the story of Scott Arfield coming back to Falkirk after 15 years is incredible.
Andy, you would like
I would have to agree with you, Graham. I would say that's... Yeah, I think that's the pick of the bunch there, that fixture tomorrow, Falkirk and Ayr. Ayr obviously should give a good account of themselves last Friday night on TV against Hibs. Run them close as well. But as Graham said there, Scott Arfield, ultimate professional, you know, coming back to the club he started it off with, a hat-trick on his debut. What more can you ask for? And, you know, obviously paying respect to his great friend there and taking the number 37 shirt again and bringing it out of retirement. So I tell you what, I would still have my Ibrox. He offers a lot on the pitch and see off the pitch as well in terms of hearing interviews and watching him doing media work. He's absolutely brilliant the way, you know, he speaks, and he's just a top professional in my opinion. And I think even when he stops playing, he'll go on to have a decent career, if that's in media or coaching wise.
Well, that's what I was about to ask you, Andy. You know, Scott Arfield would fit into that Rangers team now.
Yeah, he would indeed. I still think we should have held on to him along with maybe one or two others at that stage. But yeah, you know, we went playing in the MLS, done well there. Went down south to Bolton, done okay there. And has came back up the road to Falkirk, and obviously the dream start last week. But I fancy Falkirk tomorrow to win, and who knows, Scotty might get on the score sheet again tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, I was so disappointed. I thought that game would have been on the TV, that game, but never mind. The women's football getting sent a stage tonight, and we'll move on to that in a minute or two. I think that another game that stands out for me would be, well, obviously you've got to say Queen's Park, Graham, against Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, what a confidence boost that is for Queen's Park going at that game this weekend. To go to Ibrox, I mean, if you kind of get confidence winning that game, you never will. It's a big game for Queen's Park. You know, but that's football for you know. They go to Ibrox, win 1-0, then they're home to Hamilton. You know, that's just football for you. It's unbelievable how things can change very quickly. But they've got to take confidence from that. You know, what a performance in Queen's Park last week. I thought defensively were fantastic. I thought Callum Ferry in Queen's Park goal was magnificent. They will take so much heart from that last week. I mean, I've watched Hamilton a couple of times this season, and they've not been fantastic. But there's always that come down, though, after a big cup win. You go into that game thinking we'll win this game comfortably and then get beat. But I don't see that happening. I think Queen's Park will take massive confidence from that. And I think they will end up winning that game. I mean, honestly, for Queen's Park to be in the quarterfinal of the Scottish Cup is incredible. Whether it was Rangers or anyone else, it's an incredible result, an incredible performance, and fair play to Callum Davidson. I think he should be still managing at a higher level, to be fair. He should never have got sacked from Johnson in the first place, I don't think. But what a moment for him last week. So happy for him.
It would be interesting to see Graham if they get the semi-final, if they're going to move to the semi-final because Queen's Park will have home advantage at Hampden. That would be pretty interesting to see, but obviously they've got to get past Aberdeen first.
Yeah, I don't think they will. If we're going to be, I think probably that'll be a stretch too far, but it would be incredible if they got to the semi-final. Well, what a story that would be for Callum Davidson. But it's cup football. You never know; these things can happen. That's what I love about. That's what I love about Scottish Cups and FA Cups. You look at Liverpool getting knocked out by Plymouth, Rangers get beat by Queen's Park. That's why you love football. For moments like this, it's a brilliant story. I know not for Andy, but it's a brilliant story. Like for Queen's Park to go at Ibrox and do that is incredible. Absolutely fantastic for them.
Yeah, well, let's move on because we want to keep Andy and the team, and we don't want him to run away. So let's move on to talk about the women's football tonight, guys. There's a big game on the SWPL, and it is Glasgow City against Celtic Graham. It is playing at Petershill Park. Was a 7:30 kickoff, and it's good to see Glenn because this game is on BBC Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, you are right what you said earlier. You know, Falkirk against Ayr United would have been a great game to have on TV, but obviously Ayr United were on TV last week. But this could be a decent game, I think. I don't know what the point difference is between the two, but it should be an interesting game. I think, you know, Glasgow City have been a very good women's side for a long, long time. Celtic again up there as well. Again, it's a hard game to call, and it's funny. I know this isn't English football, but I listened to a thing last week in English football where they were talking about the Man United women's, and there was a lot of controversy around that, which I didn't agree with, to be honest. I thought the person that was speaking was a bit of a dinosaur, as it was called. But women's football's in a really good place just now. I think it's a fantastic place, and it's great to see it getting highlighted more. As like tonight, it should be a decent game, but again, I couldn't call this one way or the other.
Andy, what's the women's game like over in Northern Ireland?
I'm not a big watcher of it. From what I know, it's not as big as it is in Scotland and also obviously in England, but it's getting better. It is getting better from what I'm led to believe. Similar to Scotland, where you have the likes of 2 or 3 big teams or better teams, and the rest sort of struggle. But listen, am I a big fan of women's football in terms of watching it? In all honesty, no. But it's good to see that it is growing and that people are taking more interest, and also there's more money and resources being put into it. And as we've said there about Falkirk and Ayr not being on TV tonight, it's just as good to see a ladies' game on, and it's obviously top of the table clash. They're actually joint on points and just separated Glasgow City on top on goal difference by, I think, 4 goals maybe, with Rangers and Hibs 2 points behind them. So yeah, the league, as I say, I don't watch it all the time, but I watch the odd game, and it is interesting to see. And what we're saying there at the start of the show about the youth team football and the B team football, you want young lads and young kids to go and watch that and say, you know, I would fancy doing it. I want to do that myself someday. Young girls and ladies want to do that themselves and go and watch and see their heroes play for Rangers or Celtic or Hearts or Hibs or whoever it may be at ladies level. So massive respect for the teams to be challenging up there for the league and stuff, you know, at this stage of the season. So I'm sure tonight's game will be a cracker, and I will have my Glasgow City scarf on.
Yeah, How did I know you were going to say that, Andy? Let's run through let's run through the rest of the women's games before we get out of here. Spartans against Dundee United, Hearts against Queen's Park, Graham. Oh, that's a big one. Montrose against Hibs, Motherwell against Aberdeen, Packet Thistle against Rangers. Of course, they games are all on Sunday. So if you're going to any of the games, enjoy the games. So I have enjoyed the company tonight of Graham, Andy, and Robbie, and we'll be back soon here on the Locker Rooms. That's for all your comments. That's for watching, and we will see you very, very soon.
The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live